The 1953 Bantu Education Act, the law that restricted black education. Imagine being told that your child's education is not meant to empower them, but to prepare them for a life of servitude. That their school will teach them just enough to follow orders, but never enough to rise above their circumstances. This was the cruel intent behind the 1953 Bantu Education Act. The Bantu Education Act of 1953 was one of the most damaging laws enacted under apartheid. It formalized racially segregated education and ensured that black South Africans received an inferior education designed to keep them in low-paying labor positions. The act was signed into law by Prime Minister D.F. Malan of the National Party, fundamentally shaping the future of black South Africans for generations. But what exactly did this law do, and how did it impact millions of lives? The Bantu Education Act was implemented to further apartheid's goals of racial and economic segregation. It stripped control of black education from missionary and community-run schools and placed it under the government's strict control. Key provisions of the law included schools for black students focused on manual labor and menial skills rather than academic subjects. The apartheid regime took over black education, shutting down independent mission schools that had previously offered quality education. Schools for black students were severely underfunded compared to white schools, leading to overcrowded classrooms and inadequate facilities. Black students were denied access to white universities and were instead directed to segregated, under-resourced institutions. This law was not about education. It was about control. The government openly stated that black children did not need the same level of education as white children, as their role in society was predetermined as laborers and domestic workers. The Bantu Education Act had devastating consequences for black South Africans. Black children were deliberately denied the education needed for skilled professions. The act deepened economic disparities by ensuring that generations of black South Africans remained trapped in poverty. Frustration with inferior education led to resistance, most notably the 1976 Soweto uprising, where students protested against the enforcement of Afrikaans as a medium of instruction, leading to brutal police repression. The legacy of Bantu education still affects South Africa's education system today, with ongoing struggles to correct decades of systematic underdevelopment. Despite these oppressive measures, black South Africans fought back. Organizations like the African National Congress, ANC, and the Black Consciousness Movement worked to challenge the system, emphasizing self-empowerment and the importance of education. Although apartheid laws were repealed in the 1990s, the impact of the Bantu Education Act still lingers. South Africa continues to address the inequalities created by decades of racialized education policies, with efforts to improve schools and expand access to higher education. Education is the key to breaking cycles of oppression. Do you think enough is being done to correct the effects of Bantu education? Tell us in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button, subscribe for more historical breakdowns.